Yesterday we learned about values. I promise you that two things change our life more than anything else. One's our values, and the other one's our beliefs. But what is a belief? It's a very first thing we got to define. If we don't define it, we don't know what it is. So belief is nothing than a feeling. It's a feeling of certainty about specific matter. So write this down because it's extremely important to understand that definition. It's a feeling of certainty about specific matter. And if you believe in something, and then tomorrow you find out some different evidence, you find out some different experience, guess what happens? You're going to change your beliefs. And your feeling of certainty about something changes, and that's how you change your beliefs. So where do beliefs come from? Well, they come from parents, they come from peer group, they come from school and religion, they come from media, but they also come from something called significant emotional events. It's basically how our subconscious mind attaches pain or pleasure to the event. The more painful something is, the more we remember it, and the more it's significant to us, and a belief is usually formed. How many of you remember what happened on 9/11, 2001? Do you remember exactly where you've been and what you were doing when you heard the news? Because it's a very significant event. Do you remember what happened 2 days before? Not a chance, because it was simply not significant as much as what happened on 9/11. So if we experience something that is highly emotional, also it's something that we repeat over and over and over again, our subconscious mind starts being programmed. So in our subconscious mind, in the conscious mind, we're answering unlimited amount of questions. But our subconscious mind is only answering one. Does this mean pain? Or does this mean pleasure? And if it means pain, it will try to prevent you from it in the future. If it means pleasure, it will try to pull you towards it. That's all what it is. Every event that the fact that you're sitting here, every single one of you thought it's gonna be pleasurable or it's gonna be painful if I don't go. One of those two. Every single one of you, when you, let's say, decided to leave Jehovah's Witnesses, it was a moment when it became too painful to stay in. How many of you juggled? Oh, it's painful if I stay in, it's painful if I leave. But at one point, a pain of staying in was greater than the pain of leaving. For a person who is a PIMO, physically and mentally out, that person attaches too much pain towards leaving. He knows he's suffering inside, but the thought of leaving is simply too painful. So he's dealing with this pain here, but if he leaves, it will be too painful. And this is why he stays. It's the only reason. And the moment the person switches, like, oh no, if I stay here, it's going to be more painful than if I leave. It's the moment of decision when they decide to leave. I remember it myself. It was like, okay, at first I attached pain of staying, but the pain of leaving was too much because I'm going to leave maybe my sisters, my wife, my kids, like the whole community, everybody that I know and care about. So I'm like, I'm staying in. It's too much. I couldn't take it. But there was this one moment, and we all make decisions in a moment when everything changes, is when I realized that I'm actually not doing my kids a favor by staying in. I'm actually going to destroy their life. I thought of that moment when if I stay in, if I pretend that I believe, and they're going to get involved and they're going to get baptized, and later on, they're going to wake up when they're married and they have kids and they have all their family and everything involved in this, and they're going to come to me and going to say, Dad, you knew this and you didn't tell us? What the hell? Now I got to go through this. And as a father, as a protector of the family, of the kids, he was like, okay, that's it. Enough is enough. I know, like I'm the third generation, based on the regular generation definition. I'm a third generation of a Jehovah's Witness. And I don't want to pass this on to the next generation. I don't want, he has to stop. I don't care how much of a loss I'm going to take. how painful it will be, I will not pass it on to others. I will not pass it on to my kids and the kids to my kids and so on and on. It has to stop. And it became more painful to stay than it was to leave. And that was a moment of shift. I hope you guys get this. And then later on, the pleasure of leaving became greater and greater. But at the beginning, it was all pain. It was all pain-driven. So what happens? How is our mind programmed? By this activity. Guess what happens? You go, is this highly emotional event? For most people, it was. I know Daniela was a little bit different. The unicorn over there. For most of us, we didn't like it. We had to repeat the introduction over and over and over again. And then we were like nervous what to say, and we didn't know who's going to come out. And for most of us, it was quite emotional. At the same time, it was quite repetitive. You go to one door, and the second door, and third door, and 1,000 doors later, you're still going and knocking. And guess what happens? At the beginning, maybe you're excited, depending if you were brought into this or not. You might be excited who's going to be there. Maybe you're going to start a Bible study. But then you're going to hear no, and then no, I'm not interested, and no, I'm not interested, and I'm busy, I have my own religion, and so on. 100 dollars later, you're anticipating. You're going to the door, and you're already thinking, yeah, they're not going to be interested. I already know. Like the chances of them being interested are like 1 in a million. After a while, you hope they're not interested. Because you didn't read the magazine that you're carrying. You don't know what's inside. You're offering something that you kind of know what's inside, but you didn't read it. So now you're like, okay, you prefer to be rejected. Because that was easy. Somebody says that I'm not interested. Clicked up the number, crossed it off I go. Now you're being rewarded for your effort. You're associating pleasure with being rejected, and maybe you're scared of acceptance. Because if somebody said, oh yeah, come on in. You're like, what? Yeah, come on in, let's talk. That didn't happen before. You know we're Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Because it's so, and you're like, what am I going to say? And if the person's next to you, I'm like, what if I'm going to screw up? What do I offer them? I didn't read the magazine. What if they ask me questions I don't know the answers to? And it programs your subconscious mind to be happy or align pleasure with rejection and pain with acceptance. It messes you up. It messes you up. When you are actually wanting to be rejected, you want people not to be home, you start knocking so quietly, you're hoping they're not going to hear it. And this is what happens. You go door to door, you go so often, nobody appreciates your results. Everybody appreciates your effort. Nobody appreciates your results. Everybody appreciates your effort. You were rewarded for your effort. So you submit your hours. Oh, you're pioneering this mind. That's fantastic. You haven't done anything yet. Your name was already read from the platform. You are a pioneer the moment you sign a piece of paper. And you were already like the whole congregation like clapping. You haven't done 1 hour yet. And everybody's like excited for you. You are rewarded for your effort just for showing up because you were there. How much results you brought to the table, it was irrelevant. Worse, people would criticize you for it if you mentioned that you have success. Oh, I had 10 Bible studies. Sister, you're not humble. All the glory's got to go to Jehovah. You can't take a compliment. How many of you actually have a hard time taking a compliment? Somebody saying you're just deflecting it. Because if you mention any success outside of the religion, whether you start out a business and you're becoming successful, you would never share it in the congregation with enthusiasm. You would mention it, but you would always downplay it. Because you knew they're going to judge you for it. Oh, you're too materialistic. You're not spiritual enough. You should focus on the more important things. And then you're starting attaching pain towards success and then pleasure towards being right in the middle of a pack, submissive, humble. There's nothing to offer. I'm just like everybody else. That's the safe place. And you are rewarded for your efforts, for the time that you put in. That will mess you up. Because when you go to the real world, it's the exact opposite. This is where the rewiring has to happen. You gotta link pain towards rejection, not towards fear, but towards rejection. Because if you go and try to sell a product or service and somebody rejects you, I didn't like it. That means I gotta improve. I gotta create more value. I gotta change something to make it more appealing to the customer. I'm not serving their needs. If they rejected me, I gotta improve. Pleasure towards acceptance. Somebody gives us a compliment, acknowledge it. Say thank you. Don't say, oh, no, it wasn't a big deal. You're just criticizing their appreciation. You're saying, oh, what you're saying is not true. As a matter of fact, what is better to say is appreciate their appreciation. So if you say, oh, Jack, great job at doing whatever. I'll say, oh, thank you very much. I appreciate this because you know what? There are some days I really don't feel like doing this, but because of comments like yours, I'll get up in the morning and I keep going. Appreciate the appreciation. What does that happen? You appreciate me, now you feel like, oh, I'm going to appreciate him more often because he appreciates the fact that I'm appreciating him. Instead of deflecting, oh, no, it's not me. It shouldn't be for me. The glory to somebody else, to the organization or to Jehovah. Take it and validate it. It's very, very important. What we're going to do, we're going to go through certain beliefs. I know a lot of these beliefs you can relate to. I'm just putting out there what was my beliefs, the old beliefs that I had, and how I replaced them. I'm not telling you to replace these with my beliefs. I'm just giving you an example of how I did it. You could resonate with them, write it if you like it, but on one page, write the old beliefs if you had them. If you think of any old belief that you used to have, write it on one paper will be your old beliefs, and on the other piece of paper will be new beliefs. So on top of the page, write down old beliefs. On the other piece of paper, write down new beliefs. One of the first beliefs that it's programmed into our subconscious mind because of the door-to-door ministry that was so ineffective. I've been going for over 30 years. How many people do you think I converted? Take a guess. Anybody else? Zero. I helped one person to be baptized, but that was not because of door-to-door ministry. It was informal witnessing. But door-to-door ministry, over 30 years going door-to-door, not one person. Guess what that does? After a while, you start believing you will not make a difference. No matter how much you tried, no matter how many doors you knocked on, no matter how many hours you do, nobody will listen to you. You don't feel good enough. You're not making an impact. You're not making a difference. Nobody believes in you. Because of so many no's, so many rejections, being comfortable with rejection, being afraid of acceptance. That was my old belief. I will not make a difference no matter how much I try. If you have that belief in your subconscious mind, you go to work, guess what kind of results you're going to bring? You're going to think, I'm a good salesperson. I'm a Jehovah's Witness. I can go talk to anybody. But subconsciously, you're already expecting and hoping people will reject you. It will show up in your face. It will show up in your tone of voice. It will show up in your body language. And you'll be happy that, oh, I tried. You're going to tell your boss, yeah, I tried. It doesn't work like that. The new belief is, I will always create an impact if I create value. If I don't create value for somebody, the person will not accept me because I'm trying to push something onto them they don't want. But if I find out what are their needs, what are their wants, I can create value in somebody's life and they will accept me. They'll be happy to accept me. But I have to create value. That's how you make impact. But if you go door to door, do people want to listen and talk to other strangers about religion on Saturday morning? You're laughing. No, you come uninvited. People don't expect this. They don't want to sit down and talk about religion. Unless, if you remember from yesterday, you're at the very bottom. You're the survival mode. When you're so depressed and you're looking for a tribe. Then you knock on somebody's door, somebody who just lost a loved one, somebody who's going through a divorce, somebody's going through a depression or some sort of nervous breakdown or whatever, and they need a tribe. You knock on their door. For them, that's an upgrade. Those are the people that we wanted to talk to. Those are the people we wanted to find. But if somebody's doing well, somebody's an entrepreneur and then they're in the orange level, they don't want to talk to us about religion on Saturday morning. If their mind is on totally something else. Next one. I need to sacrifice myself. If I suffer, God will reward me. You had that belief? The more sacrifice, we have to have this sacrificing, self-sacrificing spirit. You heard that belief because it was spread everywhere. You got to have a self-sacrificing spirit in order for you to be noticed. And God will always see it, no matter whether you're cleaning a toilet. I don't care if you're standing on a street corner with minus 40 degrees cold. God will see your effort. And the more people suffered, the more we liked it. Like the missionaries would come from Africa. We wanted to know about the scorpions or snakes or dirty hats that they had to live in. The worse it's gotten, the more we like the stories. Because the more we suffer for the truth, for service, the more like, oh, Jehovah will see your effort. It doesn't matter what results you brought. It doesn't matter. But you suffered, and God will see your suffering and He will reward you for it. So in my head it was like, I got to suffering. I got to suffer all the time. I got to work hard, do this, do that, constantly be busy. I had to replace it. I had to replace it with, I deserve to live in abundance if I will create results. I deserve to live in abundance if I create results. The more results you will bring, the more abundance you deserve to live in. If you don't bring any results, if you don't resolve anybody's problems, if you don't help anybody, you don't deserve to live in abundance. But if you know how to create value, how to make impact, how to help people, whatever it is, with your service or product, you deserve to live in abundance. And you don't have to suffer. The next one, I'm not good enough, I need a savior. That's pretty much in most of the religions. You're born with a sin, and no matter how hard you work, no matter what you do, no matter how holy you are, you will always need somebody to save you, and you're never good enough. You always have to do more. You always have to work more. Maybe not all religions. Some religions teach, oh, once you're saved, you're always saved. But majority of the very strict religions, they're like, you got to work more. And no matter how much you work, no matter how many hours you put in, maybe at the end you will be saved. Well, I switched it to, it's up to me now. You know the story of a circle officer who was struggling financially, and he got this bill, and the bill was for a much larger amount that he could possibly pay. And then he prayed, and he didn't know how it's going to happen. And what happened? You guys finish the story. What happened? Tell me. Exactly. Somebody came, brought groceries, and brought an envelope for the exact amount of money that they needed to pay the bill. You guys heard the story, or was it just in my congregation? There you go. And you know what? That story goes from one church to another church in every religion there is, not just Jehovah's Witnesses. You talk to Mormons, they'll tell you exactly the same story. It's just not a circle of a it's a bishop. It's exactly the same story. So guess what? I'm drowning in credit card debt. I'm living with my in-laws in the basement. My wife's pregnant, and I'm like, holy crap. The bills are much bigger than I can handle. Pray. looking outside the window. No one's coming. I'm like, maybe I should pray more. Jehovah, please. And it was a moment where I'm like, no, it has to be up to me. It's up to me to feed the family. It's up to me to take care of my kids. It's up to me to take care of my wife. It's up to me to take care of myself. No one's coming to save me. Nobody's going to pay my bills. I don't care how many prayers I'm going to do. It's still not going to be paid. I have to take care of myself. It gives you that power to, instead of blaming somebody else, it's like, no, the power is on me. It's up to me. I own my life now. And if something goes wrong, I'm not going to blame anybody. Blame is lame. You can write this one down. Blame is lame. Don't blame anybody. It's up to you. Next one. I cannot do what is sinful. That's most religions out there. However, every single religion defines sin as something else. For Mormons, when they're looking at Jehovah's Witnesses, they're like, they're too worldly. These people drink coffee and tea and alcohol. They're too worldly people. We're looking at Mormons, and the Mormons are like, they're too worldly for us. They have birthday party and Christmas. Like, that's too worldly. But for Muslim, like if the woman does not cover her hair and neck, that's wrong too. That's a sin. Everybody defines sin their own way. And I had to change this to, instead of I cannot do what is sinful, to I cannot do what is harmful. There's a big difference. Is it harmful to drink coffee or tea? Well, maybe a little bit, not much. I don't care. But is it harmful to tell your child you cannot have blood transfusion? Because that's a sin. And if you die, you might be resurrected. That's harmful. I found it to be very harmful to deprive somebody from chance of living. But if you eat a piece of birthday cake, that's a sin. You change your values, change your beliefs, you're making a shift. Next one. I need to be the same in order to be loved. I encourage you to write those old beliefs, because we're going to do a little exercise after with this. I need to be the same in order to be loved. And Rodney was saying, you can meet a witness from across the world and you know 80% of them. You need 80% of their lifestyle, 80% of their mindset. You know most of what they think about, what books they read, what are their activities during the week. You know all those things. And they develop rapport pretty quickly, don't they? Brother! Yeah, this guy, my brother. He's carrying a watchtower. I don't speak his language, but yeah, that's my spiritual family. I know. People like each other when they're like each other. That's how you develop rapport. You can write this down now. People like each other when they're like each other. That's how you develop friendship. Comradity. This is how you find your tribe, because you're the same. However, what happens is people are wearing masks. They go to the congregation and they're all the same. And then they go to the elders, and then you find out what problems they have, and you're like, what? You? That's not possible. Because you have this image of a person who's supposed to be a perfect person. I had a tenant who was a Jehovah's Witness, pioneered. I thought he's going to be a perfect tenant. He turned out to be a drug dealer. I didn't believe it. People were telling me, there were not witnesses living right above him, and they were telling me this guy's dealing drugs. I'm like, there's no way. He's a witness. Not a chance. Every time I went there, he's like, hey, Mo, how you doing? And he says, oh, thanks to Jehovah, we're doing fine. I'm going to service today. Holy man. Couldn't believe it. When I found it in the garage, I'm like, I had to go like this. I'm like, no. There's no way. And yeah, truthfully enough. Because they were all wearing masks, and a lot of people are having a double life, and you don't know. You don't know. And that's where it was so hard for us to trust people when we leave Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, how am I going to trust people? Everybody outside was demonic, and he was satanic and worldly, and we're not supposed to trust ourselves. We're not supposed to trust our hearts. You're supposed to only trust the brothers in the congregation. Now, I cannot trust the brothers. I cannot trust the people in the world. Who am I going to trust? You feel lost. But the true love happens in differences, not in the things that are the same. When you find somebody who's doing everything that you do and has the same values and beliefs and they're almost identical to you, do you love them or do you love yourself? You just see yourself in them because they're the same like you. And if you like skiing and that person likes skiing, oh great, we develop a rapport because we have the same thing in common. But you like yourself, that's why you like them. But you love a person when you see there's a difference. Oh, you love something different than me, and I love that about you. And when we are dropping that mask and we're showing who we truly are, and we're different than you, as a witness, this was really scary. Because any difference, what happens? You're out. You cannot possibly have 99% of the same beliefs. You cannot say, you know what, everything is great. I love every single doctrine you guys came up with, every teaching I'm going to follow. I'm going to go door to door and teach all of those things. It's just one thing I don't agree with. This birthday things, I don't get it. There's nothing in the Bible really direct, telling us we're not supposed to have it. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna celebrate birthdays. But everything else I agree with. Could you do that? Not a chance. One thing, 1%, you say something different and you're out. Or at least they'll be like, they'll put the guard up. So we developed this fear that if we go into outside the world, we have to be the same like somebody else. We couldn't disagree. We couldn't have our own opinion. We couldn't drop that mask. We had to be like a chameleon because that's how we develop rapport. That's how we connect. Great. But at one point, if we drop the mask, they're like, they'll find out that I'm different, that I have different beliefs about maybe God, maybe about the universe, maybe about the religion they're in. And if I tell them that I'm different, they're going to reject me. That was stored in our subconscious mind because that was our community telling us the same message. You have to be the same or else, or you don't belong here. But if we find out that we drop our mask and the person we're going into business with, relationship with, and they love us for who we truly are, that's the true love. That's the true love. Because now, if you enter a relationship with somebody else, relationship is not a path to happiness. If you're not a happy person before you are in a relationship, you're not going to be a happy person in the relationship. I guarantee you that. But the relationship is a path to authenticity. When you start, you go on your first date, what happens? Ladies, what do? 3 hours in the bathroom, perfect makeup, right? Best dress, hair salon, right? Color it, squeeze things that you don't want the guy to see. The guy will make sure that the car is super clean. He will take her to the most expensive restaurant, wear a nice suit, whatever it is. 2 big liars. That's all they are. 2 huge liars. They're trying to pretend that they're better than they actually are. And then what? Later on, and those things come off, and you're not worried about not wearing makeup. I remember this one day, I come home early, and my wife is covered with some stuff on her face. Things are all over, like there are things in her hair, I don't know what that is. She's wearing PJs that I don't know, like old, ripped or whatever PJs. And then I opened the door, she didn't expect me to come in, and she goes like, it's just you. I'm like, what? What do you mean it's just me? You used to dress up and put your makeup before I come and see you, and now it's just me. But that is the beauty. She's not scared of me looking the way she looked because we're both authentic with ourselves. That's the beauty about it. You love the person no matter how they look. See, when you're physically intimate with somebody, you strip all the covers. And you know you're going to be loved and accepted. That's what intimacy is all about, physical intimacy. And when you want to be spiritually connected with somebody, you strip off all your mask and says, this is who I am, and this is how I am. And if the person loves you and accepts you, that's how you feel the connection, the real connection. If you have to put on the mask, you will never feel it. And this is the challenge where Jehovah's Witnesses are thinking, we have the best love. No, you don't. You just don't know there is a better love. And the love that you have is very structured and very conditional. And if you have just a moment in your life of this unconditional love and intimacy, you will never go back to, I love you only if. Not a chance. How did I switch this? I need to be authentic in order to find real love. I cannot find a real love if I have a cover on my face. I can't. Because they will never love me, they will love who they want me to be. But if I drop off the mask and like, this is who I am, this is how I am, you see good, bad, and ugly, and you love what you see, that's how we can start a relationship. Next one, old belief. I need to explain myself. Discipline is a sign of love. Oh, you like that one? Who likes that? That's crazy. I need to explain myself. Jehovah's Witnesses explain themselves about the smallest things. There was a guy who came to me at the meeting and he's like, Jack, we're going to my mother next week. And I'm like, grown man, 35 years old. Yes. Well, I need you to know. Why? Well, because I'm not going to be at the meeting. And I need you to know that. Why? I'm like, 35-year-old man coming explaining himself to me why he's going to miss one meeting. That's crazy. And I'm not even talking about big sins, like, who you slept with or whatever. I'm talking about regular things. People were coming and telling me things. I'm like, oh my gosh. I wasn't like that. But a lot of people felt like, they have to explain themselves. Worse yet, you feel like you need to explain other people. This guy, my friend, he went and slept with some girls, and I'm like, you told me about it. I'm like, now this sin entered me, and Jehovah will punish me. And what if Armageddon comes and I covered it up, and he will punish me, and I will not make it to the new system because I covered up your sin. You have to go to the elders and explain yourself. I'm giving you 1 week, or I'm gonna go. I said it to him. And he went, he got this fellowship. Okay? I shunned him. Because that's what I believed. That's how we all did it. I believed I was doing the right thing. I believed I was helping him. The truth is, when you grow up, you're not like a little child that needs to listen to and explain yourself to your parents all the time. You're not 7 anymore. I don't need to explain myself to no one. I'm not a child. When you're 7, 8 years old, yes, you have to explain yourself to your mother or father. And they view this as, okay, Jehovah is the father, the organization is the mother, and you're the child, you got to explain yourself. That's the structure. But we have to change it. We're not children anymore. The next old one, there is only one purpose in life. And it was always towards preaching about the kingdom. You are the soldier of God, and you have to expand God's kingdom. One purpose only. And because of that one purpose, life was easy. Because it was very easy to make decisions. Because if you know that this is where you are and this is where you're going, that everything that aligns with that purpose, you agree with. Everything that does not align with this purpose, you don't want in your life. So it was very easy to make decisions. What kind of car you're going to buy? 2-door or 4-door? People in the world don't understand this. Jehovah's Witnesses get it. Because it's much better for service. How long is going to be your dress? If you know, like, this is only one purpose in life and this is what I'm doing, every decision in your life will be going through the lenses that you put on it. Without exception, the smallest one, who you're going to marry. Well, first of all, he has to be a witness. You're not going to consider people outside because they're not in the Lord. And then, even if they are inside, well, is the guy a ministerial servant? Why not? He should be by now. Right? It's the categories that they put us. It's crazy. There's only one purpose. But the truth is, you have unlimited amount of purposes in life. Unlimited. When you're 5 years old, your purpose is different when you're 30 years old, and it will change when you're 50, and it will change when you're 70. And when I'm with my wife, my purpose is different because I am a husband to her. Whatever you put after the word I am, then is one of your purposes. I am a husband, therefore, I will talk to her differently. I will discuss things with her differently. I am her husband, I'm her lover, I'm her friend. That's who I am to her. And then I go to another room and there are kids. I'm not a husband to my kids. I am their father. My purpose now changes. How I'm going to talk to them will switch, will change. And then you realize, oh, I am a father, I am an uncle, I am a friend, I am an entrepreneur. And you realize you have a lot of those I ams, not just one. Because if you only have one and you're a husband, you have to be the head of the family and you have to have your wife in submission. And it all goes into your subconscious mind how you behave. And I know myself, I was putting pressure on my wife to be a certain way so I can get the privileges in the congregation. Because if she's not answering, if she's late for the meetings, if she got low hours, it reflects bad on me. Guess what it does to your marriage? You all know. You experience, most of you experience that. Once we remove this, oh my gosh, I can't even compare how much better is the marriage. When you treat the person as a partner instead of somebody who's supposed to be submissive to you. It's crazy. There are unlimited purposes in life, but I tell you, if you're still lost on this because you're thinking, oh, there's so many things, I need one. I'll give you one. The one that it's in my head. I don't know if it's the right answer, but it's something that helps me. I believe we all have one purpose, and that is to improve the quality of life for ourselves and others. But we decide how. If you decide to be a professional speaker, that will be your gift, and you decide how to improve the quality of your speeches so it will impact your audience. If somebody else decides to be a life coach, you improve the quality of your customers. You improve the quality of life for yourself and others. If you don't improve it for yourself, it will be very difficult for you to teach others how to do this. Next one, there is unlimited amount of time. That was a big one. Because all your dreams, where did you put them? For the new system. Whatever you wanted. Don't worry, kids, we have kids in the new system. Why would you say for retirement, the end is around the corner? House, you can have the best house you can possibly dream of with a waterfall going through your driveway if you want to. That's in the new system waiting for you. Now, just go pioneering because you had unlimited amount of time. Boy, was that an eye-opening when you realize you will die. And for most people, like, of course, everybody dies. What are you guys talking about? No, we believed we will never die. People who lived before us, they were preaching that millions now living will never die. They're all dead now. But we still believe it. You're like, oh yeah, now millions of people will never die. No, you will die. And there's a moment when you were born, and there's a moment when you will die, and there's this dash. And you got to figure it out. You know what? Okay, here I am. And be grateful for every day that you have left. An average witness spend about 20 hours a week on all the activities. Preparing for the meetings, reading the magazines, going to service. And not pioneers. Average witness. 15 to 20 hours a week. And if you had to travel far or whatever, then even more. How can you have a regular job and plus the 20 hours extra and then any time for yourself? Not really, but you know what? Now you got the time back. Instead of complaining, they took so much time away from me. No, look at all the time that you have gained. There are people trying to be Jehovah's Witnesses right now as we speak. They're studying their books and they're trying to get in. And they will spend the rest of their life preaching and standing in front of the card and do nothing. You're out of this already. Be happy. I'm passing by a Kingdom Hall or witnesses standing on the corner. I smile every time. I'm like, Whew, I don't have to do this anymore. I smile, like some people are like angry and they put the finger over there and they take a picture like, oh, F you, right? I'm like, no, I'm grateful. I'm super happy because I got my life back and I don't want to do this anymore. I cherish each day.